My 8 pillars of jumping are increase your relative strength, but from the ground up with balance between sides, and not just for triple extension, but also for triple flexion, and with enough bulletproofing reserve. Then in your jumps themselves, do you have adequate technique, body composition, and intent?
It was a wrap for everyone in the league.
Now let's break this down in this week's long-form YouTube video. I'll start with my favorite jump exercise, the Poliquin Step Up. You're gonna see how this is a relative strength exercise. So if my body weight versus the load that I'm doing here, if I get stronger at lifting this relative to what my body weighs, well, I might be able to jump higher. But what if I'm doing that on a really weak ankle? So earlier this week, I did a calf raise for just as many sets as I would do for my Poliquin Step Up. So the Poliquin Step Up is the knee, the calf raise is the ankle. Both of those you saw number 3, balance between sides. So just because this knee can do a certain amount on the Poliquin Step Up, for jumping to stay healthy and exhibit my best effort, I would want to feel just as strong on the left side, and same for the calf raise. So that's 1, relative strength, how strong we are pound for pound. 2, from the ground up. 3, with balance between sides. 4, not just for the extension. So we showed ankle extension, we showed knee extension. Now let's get a side by side. We're gonna go back to the ankle and we're gonna look at ankle flexion, and let's put this on the screen next to the calf raise. So here now, the opposite of the calf raise. So let's get this on screen. I wanna really make sure we get that we have flexing a muscle versus, well, this is what it's called in a joint. Basically, when you bring it closer together, that's called flexion, and then the calf raise, when you're pressing away, that's called extension. For the tricep, if you did like a tricep extension versus a bicep curl, this would be flexion. This would be elbow flexion versus elbow extension. So we got that, the ankle. And then let's look at this Poliquin Step Up compared to a side angle on a Nordic, and you're gonna see the exact 2 opposing factors. So this Poliquin Step Up I love, but it's not just about this strength. It's also about the strength behind that in the exact opposite side of the joint with the Nordic. And we can even quickly show you the 2 that I used this week for the hip, which is the back extension. So let's look at a side angle of a back extension. That's gonna show hip extension. Hip extension versus, now let's look at it here. Let's look at side angle, hip flexion. Flexion. So boom. Add in bulletproofing reserve, which is partially covered by, like, you're gonna be less likely to hurt when your tibialis is strong and your calf is strong and you're strong on both sides of your knee. But let's look at my favorite bulletproofing exercise, ass to grass split squat. And you're gonna see those other movements look like a jump, like they're involved in the jump. This looks nothing like a jump. This is not involved in a jump. But when we go below 90 degrees, it's been found we do preferentially develop this teardrop shaped quad muscle. The reason that's significant is that's the first one to contract when your knee is under pressure. The proportion of your quads is shown to have to do with knee pain, meaning more of that vastus medialis compared to the upper ones equals less knee pain. It's also the most fast twitch of our 4 quad muscles. So for something like jumping, this is an exercise that can be a bit of a cheat code. It increases our bulletproofing reserve, meaning we don't want to jump and then wind up in pain from jump. If you can jump without even being able to break your body's ability not to get hurt, that is extremely underrated. That was what made my jumping possible. And if we look at arguably the greatest jumper ever, Stephen Holm, because he was 5'11", won a gold medal in high jump, and he was the Ironman of high jump. He was able to compete more than anyone else. His deep squat is like, it's the deepest squat of anyone I could find in the sport of high jump. So I think it's a pretty good example of bulletproof reserve. Why would Stephen Holm, his knee is never bending more than this when he jumps. Why in training would he work on that deep squat? Bulletproofing reserve. So with just these movements I've shown, I think this has helped simplify the entire subject for me. So in my training, here's what my week looked like. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I did a knee exercise and a hip exercise. 2 exercises back and forth, 5 to 10 sets each. I was getting at least 5 sets in with the newborn baby, and now we're getting some sleep. We just shut the phone off 8 p.m. Sleep has gone way up, just lights out. We just try to start going to bed at 8 p.m. and it's working. So now this week I've been working up to 10 sets, but that's it. 2 exercises a day. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, knee and hip. Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, this is, I try to show my plate so it's never a mystery. Like you see the numbers on there, not just like empty, plates that you can't tell the weight. This is 60 kilos, so 132 pounds. And I'm doing unusual workouts like, so here, there's no legs involved. This is all shoulder. I'm doing exercises like that with ankle. That would mean either a tibialis or a calf raise, 10 rounds. So I earn my upper body. So I don't get to do any upper body unless it's paired with ankle. This is the only way I found that I realistically get it done. And I do that Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. So it's the simplest I've ever trained. We're talking, this week will be only 12 exercises, 2 exercises per day, 6 days a week. And next week, I'm gonna try to add 1 stretch to finish out each session, just 1 stretch. This is the least number of total exercises I've ever done. The simplest made sense to me. Okay, I wanna be able to, my ultimate training goal is to dunk when Onyx can dunk. He's 1, I'm 31. I reached 20, having never grabbed the rim. Now 31, I'm dunking easier than ever. How am I gonna get to basically close to 50 still dunking? And I wanna work out my upper body. This is how I earn it. 25% of my volume is ankle, 25% knee, 25% hip, 25% shoulder. Now, let's finish down in the jumping itself with technique. I got my dunking without technique. However, occasionally I would hit some snags where I couldn't figure out why I was sucking at a jump, even when I thought I was training to be able to do the jump. So a good example is the Nordic increases your potential to pull your knee when you jump. But a lot of people who struggle with a 1-foot jump, like me, I didn't realize I was never pulling the ground. I was always straight-legged when I would finish my 1-foot jump, straight-legged. And then you see Jordan going from the foul line, pulling the ground. You see this with LeBron. I saw a video of LeBron and his kids, and they're doing it naturally. They probably have no idea. They're doing it naturally. What about someone like me who went the majority of my basketball life being a terrible jumper? My body is trained to jump like someone with fragile joints who has weak muscles and can't use the body. So my advice on technique is not to overthink it, but simply to watch yourself in slow motion and compare it to someone that you want to jump like in slow motion. That's the only advice I personally have on that. Now, body composition can go 2 ways. Maybe you have more body fat. What I've seen more of in people struggling to jump is they actually don't have enough muscle tissue in the right areas that they're gonna need to jump. So if you're skinny, but you have the tendons, those are things that hold your muscle to the bone, they're pound for pound stronger than muscle. If you have the tendons of a cheetah, awesome. But if you're skinny and you have the tendons of a sloth, like I did, now it's like you're gonna have to put some muscle tissue on there to kind of recreate a new frame to be able to jump higher. That's my opinion in observing people, is that usually the problem is not body fat, but not enough muscle tissue in the right areas. Last but not least is intent. We can't pretend like the mindset is not a factor in every one of those steps. Here's a huge example with this step up. If this step up, if I'm doing my, gotta set myself up. If I'm doing my step up, and if I'm dropping there, pushing with the bottom leg, how much did I actually tell my body that I want my knee to be able to handle more? Or if I'm pushing through pain, that might be causing more damage than I'm gonna be able to recover from in time. So the intent, I'm thinking, I am not letting my knee break, explode, not letting my knee break, only working on it. Stole one of my clamps. I have to mix around. So Intent affects every step, including the jumping itself. So it would be neglectful to finish the list and not have intent on there. This is what I got. It's made this subject extremely simple for me. I now don't have to stress about it. I believe the closer we get to the truth, the simpler a subject becomes. This is the simplest jumping's ever been to me. This is the easiest I've ever been able to dunk. So hopefully it helps you or someone you know who wants to jump higher.